Hello, I hope you are well. In this video we will see how often do scientists lie about their experiments. Welcome to the Question Answer channel. I thank Mark John Fernee, Franklin Vo, Benjamin Robert Barber and May Tierney for their answers to this question. We will start with the first of Mark John Fernee.
Things are taking a rather disturbing direction these days. Scientists tend to be a conservative lot who are very careful with what they report for fear of being wrong. The last thing any scientist wants is to publish something that is wrong. That can kill your career. However, there is an increasing impetus for scientists to use excessive hyperbole in order to sell the importance of their work. Most universities now have public relations departments that eagerly seek to hype any published research, as any additional exposure can be ascribed to importance, which in turn increases the chance to get more funding. This forms a vicious cycle, as researchers are encouraged to look for an angle to sell their research. Let me give a current example in physics. Researchers claim to have created a traversable wormhole in the lab. This paper got the front cover of Nature, the most prestigious journal in the world. Getting published in Nature is a sure way to attract funding. Getting the cover illustration is just icing on the cake. This story made it into a lot of mainstream press. The hype was real. The truth, they ran a simplified algorithm on a Google quantum computer, got a result and interpreted it as an operating wormhole in a simplified model spacetime that in no way corresponds to reality. This paper was written to promote the hype. Here's an excerpt of one of the referee reports. Clearly the reviewer raised concerns about the hype. However, the paper seems to have been published without making significant changes to the text. Clearly, the editors also liked the hype. I like the phrase, dancing on the line of dishonesty. However, to be fair to Nature, they published a corresponding review of the article that makes it quite clear that this was not a physical wormhole, but a special model system. Did physicists create a wormhole in a quantum computer? An unusual teleportation experiment is just ordinary quantum physics, but was inspired by tunnels through an exotic, toy universe. The abstract also clearly established this point. It's the publicity machine that's responsible for the more sensationalist articles. Therefore the public outreach does not match the research presented. However, there was similar research published a couple of years ago that used the phrase, wormhole-like. It hardly received any press. By using the word, wormhole, the authors have successfully engaged the public imagination. Is misleading the public lying? Sadly, funding is so difficult to obtain, that there is significant pressure to hype one's research as much as possible. Thus the reality of the research and how it is presented may be very different things.
What do you think? We will continue with Franklin Vo's answer.
Very, very rarely, because of this thing called peer review. What is peer review? People have this notion that scientists are a bunch of eggheads in a lab concocting elaborate conspiracies. Say, Dr. Schnauzenpuss, would you like to help me suppress this cure for cancer I've just discovered? Why, I'd love to, Dr. Blinkenlights, but I've already told Dr. Frisenstern I would help him with his global warming hoax. Mwahaha. In reality, scientists are a cantankerous, backstabbing bunch who love proving other scientists wrong even more than they love winning Nobel Prizes. A typical peer review session looks like this. Actual photo of a peer review group at Nature magazine. You know what peer review is? Peer review is when you take the meanest kid in your middle school on his worst day, give him a doctorate in your field of study, and tell him his life's mission is to destroy you. If you lie about your experiment, he will find out.
The next answer is from Benjamin Robert Barber.
Less often than they make outright mistakes. When research is discovered to be wrong, it's generally because someone had a pet theory, and because the equation they're using has a mistake in the algebra leading to it, their data seems to fit their pet theory. They're not lying, they just made a mistake, and motivated reasoning keeps them from seeing it. That's why science promotes duplication from as independent a source as possible. If someone I've never met or influenced on the other side of the planet gets the same result that I do via a completely different experiment, the scientific community can put more confidence into the now mutual result. If the experiment only yields positive results for me, and everyone else doing it, even in my own lab, gets a different, negative result, chances are there's some bias at play or I'm doing something and not realizing, not reporting it. Scientists know confirmation bias and other cognitive biases plague human researchers, including themselves. That's why good scientists try to recognize and mitigate their own blind spots. Actual, full-on lying in the scientific community is a death sentence for someone's career. It will be found out. And when it is, all results that person were involved in suddenly become suspect, and require fresh, independent verification. Their notes are analyzed ad infinitum, to find where the truth ended and the lies began. It's a big deal, and for a community looking to reach objective truth, I feel like that's kinda reasonable.
What do you think? We will continue with May Tierney's answer.
Ew, you were talking about something we only whisper about. Falsifying your evidence is just barely above child molesting. So one case of it, and his PhD fellow turned him in, was on transplanting mice skin. To make sure you do not have the regular skin healing in, you will for example, put a patch of white skin on a black mouse. Only this one guy did the reverse, he had black skin on his white mouse. And when the black skin didn't take, he used a laundry marker to color his fur. But one of his PhDs turned him in and now we do not speak his name. His career is over. No one would even allow him a bottle washing job because his name alone is to bring up questions of true finding. Like, he might have snuck in at night and changed data. And he is held in total contempt by the whole field, and I mean forever. He couldn't even get a cage cleaning job at a veterinarian. Maybe he'll hurt the animals, you just don't know. Then there is also the Piltdown scandal. It's in Wiki, though in his case he had died before the scam unraveled. So how often, given that if I am even doing undergraduate research, as I was, and my professor did something like that, I can either rat them out or go down with them. So I'm going to rat her out, as would anyone in my position. So it's very rarely reported, and I think that if it happened, most people are going to report it, so it is not happening. The other thing, we were discussing something found by a group. It was an interesting research. But my professor said, their data is not repeatable. That is almost as bad. We put down everything from the temperature the mice are at to what they were fed and what mice lines we used in the recipe for agar. And from that every bit of evidence we expect another lab can run the same thing. 3 is the magic number. If the guy had not been ratted out, it still would raise questions when the data was not reproducible.
The video is over. Thank you for staying until the end. I hope the video has you more. If so, you can subscribe and activate the bell to miss any video. Also remember to leave a like. This is now the end of this video. Remember to leave a comment to tell us if these answers resonate with you. Bye and see you soon.